Morning everybody. We're doing a project today, a little project today. This is a small side fender that I'm making for Kosh Bushcraft. They've ordered a couple of small side fenders, and this is what they want. And so what I'm going to do today is just show you how to make a nice side fender. And for those of you, well, even if you're not interested, you're going to hear about it. The actual rope, this actual rope here, came from the Lydia Eva, which was the last steam drifter, which I believe is a fishing vessel where they basically cast their nets and drift, and then after a time pull up the nets and end up with fish in the nets. And so today's little project, we're going to make all of this, including the little Turk's head on there. And yes, I know this is brown, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate between this and some white cord so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'll show you on the white cord or white rope, and then what I'll do is I'll come back and show you on this as well. Also, the other thing as well is if you want to make yourself a side fender, I will tell you what size, lengths, etc., and that will be at the end of the video. So at the end of the video, all the measurements regarding this rope here. And also, if you check out the description below this video, you will probably find other useful information either relating to this or other just useful tips and tricks. Okay, so without further ado, let's get knotting. So what I've done is I've got my outside cord, which is that one, that's the long cord there, and don't forget at the end of this will be the measurements. And so basically the outside cord here, which is the very long cord, I have centered and formed an eye at that point there. And let's see, how big have I got this eye? This eye is 2 inches. Okay, you can vary that as you want or require. Now the thing is, with regards to tying these, lots of people tie fenders in different ways. So I am only showing you the way that I've learnt to tie fenders. But you will find other videos on fenders where probably they do some big differences or subtle differences. But in my way, what I've got is I've got 3 strands of rope. This rope here, the shorter rope, is then another shorter rope on the back side there. It's all seized together here with a constrictor knot. So I've seized it there at a constrictor knot, and then at 7 inches I have then seized it again, because that is where we're going to start doing our knotting to create the fender. To create the fender itself. But before we start that, the first thing I'm going to do is, like we've got on this fender here, I'm going to actually, where that seizing is there, just to make it a little bit more decorative, I'm going to tie a Turk's head over my hand, and then I will slide it onto there. And I think what I'll do with this is I will make it with a large piece of rope first so that you can actually see how I'm making the Turk's head, and then I will go on and do the smaller one. So I'll just prepare my work now for the Turk's head, and I'll be back on the other side. I've got a chunkier piece of cord here. And what I'm going to do now is I'll just show you how to tie this Turk's head over your hand. And it's very simple. And I've got another video on it. If you have a look in my Turk's head section, you will see another video on exactly the same knot, and it will just be this knot. So basically what I do is I take the standing end and I lay it in the palm of my hand like so. I then take the working end, I go round the back of my hand, and then I cross over where the standing end is. I cross over there like so. So we've now got, let's see, let's just neaten that out a bit. I've got a nice X shape there. I then go round the back and come up like so. And so now you can see here I've gone round the back. It's running parallel at the back there, gone round the back, come up the front, and then I bring it up under my thumb like so. Now that I've got it under my thumb, the next thing I need to do is this lead here crosses that lead there. So that lead there is going to be crossed, and then I'm going to go underneath that lead there. So we're crossing over, under. So just let me take that across, go over, and then just bring it round the back of my hand and take it under like so. Okay, so there we go, and you can see now I have got that pattern there. The next thing I do is I just turn my hand over, go round the back here, and the next thing I do is just get hold of the left hand one and bring it over the right hand one so to form a loop. And then once I form that loop, I'm going to pass my working end over that one and under that one there. So I'll just get my working end and pass it over, under, and then pull the excess through like so. There we go. And then bring it round the back again and then to the front. And now that I've brought it to the front, we've almost done our Turk's head. The only thing that's left for me to do now is there is my working end, there's my standing end, and all I do is bring my working end and bring it in through that gap parallel to my standing end there, and just bring that through like so, and there we have it. That is the Turk's head down. We've now done a Turk's head. Now the next thing I will do is with my cord, all I will do is go round and double it up. So just basically where that line, where those two now meet each other, this one here is going to follow this one all the way round until we've doubled it up. So the first pass is coming into play now. So here we go. Whoa, I've just gone up the wrong, doing it for camera. Parallel, John, do it parallel. So look, there it goes. We want to stay parallel. Why I suddenly went off course, I don't know. So bring it through there and just run it parallel through there. And just let me turn that over. And you can see now here, it's running parallel. Unlike before, where I totally messed up. And then just take it through that one there. Obviously you would need longer cord than this, but this is just to show you as a demo. Round the back so, and let's see, it's going round there. So take it up through that one there. And it's just running parallel alongside the other one all the time. Make sure my standing end doesn't come undone. Take it through there, and you can see that pattern is appearing on our hand there where we're doubling it round. And I can take it off my hand now and just basically follow it round parallel with that one like so, almost at the end. It will hold its shape if you take it off your hand once you've created the first pass. There we go, like so, like so. And then finally, there's my first lead, pull that through, and then just tuck that one in underneath, like so. And so there you can see now, I have created a Turk's head. Now when I'm going to tie it around this one here, with the green one, I've done 3 passes, so all I would do is just go round for a 3rd time to create the 3rd pass. And so that's tying the Turk's head on your hand. Nice, easy not to do. You can either rewind this one to watch how I did that again, or I've just got a separate section under Turk's heads in my playlist where just the Turk's head knot is. Okay, so let me go and get my green, and let's do, sorry, red. I need red for my, this is starboard, so we're going to make a portside fender, so let's get some red to colour that. Right, I've just been and found in my box of paracords and ropes, cords, etc. I've found this piece here. It's 40 inches long and should suffice for 3 passes around my top end here. So let's go ahead and actually make the Turk's head itself. So once again, lay it across the palm of my hand like so. I go round the back there and I cross over. So let's just, it's a little bit fiddly to do this one because it's a thinner cord. Let's take a bit more through. So I'll go round the back of my hand and I cross over at the front like so. Let's get that out of the way. I then go round the back of the hand again parallel and bring it around the front like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is, where's my pointer? This will cheer CJ up. I'm not using a cleaver. I pass over that one and go under that one. Okay, and actually talking about CJ and that, if you have any comments, etc., please do leave me comments. give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, but tell me why. I need to know why I'm doing things right or wrong. Okay, so as you can see here now, what I've done is I have gone here, I've gone over that lead there, under that lead there, and there is my working end, and that's my standing end there. So the next thing I do is, now that I've done that, I just turn it over on the back of my hand. I take the left one here and I pass it over the right one like so, and then I get my working end and I pass it down through that gap and underneath that one there. So it's gone down through that hole there, under that one there. Take it down through like so. There we go. And then what I do is just take it round the back and bring it round the front again. And the very final thing I've got to do is, there is my standing end. My working end goes up in alongside my standing end like so. Don't let it cross over, that's it. In there like so. And that now is one pass of the Turk's head done. And so all I've got to do now is just, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So what I'll do is, because I've got just a small area that I need to cover, so I can just gently pull on it just to bring it up that little bit tighter, and just pull those leads through and just make it a little bit smaller. That's all locked in place, but what we're doing now is just making our Turk's head that little bit smaller so that it'll fit over our work. And then we can go ahead and pass it over the loop when we've finished. So now, as you can see here, it's a little bit smaller now. I've made it smaller, and basically what I'm going to do now is get this, my working end here, to follow my left hand cord there. And so all I'm doing is just where it's following round parallel, I'm going to just pass it through and double up. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to you when I've done that bit. Right, so as you can see there, what I've done is I've doubled it. It's gone a little bit smaller, and what I'm going to do now is just go round and make it even smaller just by pulling up on it and making it smaller, and then we'll do a final pass of a third pass so that it looks exactly the same as the other one. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and tease this up so it gets a bit smaller, then go around with a third pass, and then we'll be ready to slip it on to our Fender there. Okay, so I'll just go around and do that. Now, as you can see, I've gone round a few times just tightening it up, and it's now almost fitting over my finger. But the thing I want to do is just make sure that when I'm doing it, it will still slide over my actual knots or my actual work itself. And you can see here now, that is the right size just to tease over there and put it on the start of my, forgot what it's called now, it's not a bollard, what am I thinking of? This is a Fender, so it's going to go over the top of my Fender, but the next thing I need to do is just take it off again, so it's the right size. Now it's the right size to slip over, and I've done 2 passes here, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go round, and so basically follow that lead there and do a third pass round there, and then we'll go on to slipping it onto our actual top of our Fender itself. So let me get on and do that, and you'll be back in a second. So there you have it. I've now done a small Turk's head, 3 passes, and so all that's left to do now is actually place it over the top of my Fender itself. So what I'm going to do is just take those leads out the way, and I'm going to pass it over there, just squash it over, and it should be a nice snug fit. And this is where I find out if I've done it too tight or not, but I can always undo it a bit. There you go. So it's passed it over there, and then over my 3 strands like so, and then just get your fid and just tease it over. Yeah, there's loads of room there, so it will tease over. Just gently tease it over. Could have done it a bit slacker, but hey, that's the way things go. There we go. I can see the tops of the leads now, so all I'm going to do is just pull it down a little bit further, There we go. So there we go, we've got our Turks head on there now, just neatening it up a little bit. And so the next thing I'm going to do is just go round all the leads here. You can see I can still get my fid right under there. I want that nice and tight around my top part of my fender there. So what I'm going to do now is just gently start at the beginning, take the first one, gently pull it through and work your way all the way round, pulling it up really nice and tight so that we get a tight knot on there, keeping that top end closed. Now when you're making this fender, you don't need to do this stage here. I'm just making it look a little bit more decorative, and in future I'll know it's my fender because of the way that I've made this particular one here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go round and tighten up on this, and then I'll come back to you for the next phase of our fender making. Right, so there you go. I've put my Turks head on there. That is now nice and tight on there. And the next thing I can do is cut off these scraggly ends here. So if I just get my knife and all the scraggly ends that are hanging about, just cut them off flush. And then what I can do is tuck them underneath my work, and that will make it all nice and neat. So just tuck that in, take that one, cut that one off as well, nice and flush. There we go. Might as well get rid of those two spider's legs there. So take that one out and take that one out. Just cut that off. Okay, so that's nothing in the way when we start working on the other end. And all I'm going to do now is just tuck those little ends in there. Just tuck them under like so, and then that's out of the way. And you don't need to glue it or anything, it should hold itself out of the way. And there's my other one, so just tuck that in like so. Bring that over, see a few scraggy ends there, but tuck those in as well. Okay, so there we go. That is the next bit of our work done. Now we're going to get on to actually doing the fender itself. Now what I like to do on a fender is, when my fender is going to be that long. So what I've done is, and that long is, let me tell you how long that is. That overall length is just a fraction over 10 inches in length. And so what I've done here is, at this point here, let's see, at 9 inches, just 9.5 inches here, what I've done is, I have seized it off at this point with a constrictor knot. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, on the end here, I am going to tie a crown knot. Now obviously you can't see that so clearly, so what I've done is I have got my cord here and I've done a similar setup. I've tied it at this end, there's another constrictor knot here, and what I'm going to do is just show you how to tie a crown knot. And the crown knots are so simple and easy. If you know how to do it, fast forward. If you don't know, just watch this bit. So as you can see, there's the point where I've seized at, and I've just turned it on its head like so, and I've got my 4 strands coming out. Now to do a crown knot is very, very simple. All I do is take any lead, any one, and I pass it over the one next to it. And I want to keep that loop there because you'll see that loop in play later on. So this one here has just been passed over, so we just take this one and pass it over that one there. And then we take that one and pass it over the final lead, and then the final lead goes through that loop there, passes through that loop there, and then we pull it up nice and tight. So let's just show you that again. So to do the crown knot on the end of my fender, we take any lead. So this time I'm going to take this lead and pass it over that one, but I want to keep that loop there. So basically this lead here has passed over that one there. We then take the one that's been passed over and pass it over the next lead, which is this one here. This one here passes over this lead here, and then finally this loop here that we kept at the beginning, this lead goes down through that loop, and you can see there we've now formed a crown on the top of our cordage. And all we do is now keep pulling all the cords up tight, all up nice and tight, until it comes hard against that seizing at the bottom there. And so there we go. we're now hard against the seating. So we've tied our crown knot. And the other thing that I like about this is it gives us a little bit of a shoulder to push against when we're actually creating the crown knot going up the other way on our work. And you'll see that in a little bit. So let's now get hold of the other piece of work and put a crown in that. Right, so I've got my fender here. There's my seizing point. And the next thing I'm going to do is tie a crown knot into this part of the fender. Now the thing is, this is fairly difficult simply for the fact is you've got miles of rope to pull through, but we'll go along with it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this lead here and pass it over this one. And then we keep that loop there because we need that for later on. Now the one that's just been passed over, this one here, we take that, and I've got to get all my ends through. There we go. Take that one and pass it over that one there. So just pass it over, there we go. And then we take this one that's just been passed over, take this one and pass it over that one. And I just don't want to get it in my coffee because that would be a nightmare. And then finally, this one here, that's the loop we've preserved here. This one here goes down through that loop and pull it all the way down. And then what we do is we then go around and just gently, to start with, tighten up so it's all nice and even. Tighten up like so, and there we go. We now have our crown knot. Now, the thing is, when you're doing this, every time you tie a knot on a fender, pull it up as tight as you can so that that fender becomes really, really rigid. That fender is exactly the same as that. That rope is really flimsy, but here it's solid. Ouch, that hurts. See, really hard. And so that's what we're looking to do. So each time you tie a knot now in your fender, you want to tie it as tightly as possible to get it as tight as possible. Okay, so there we have it. That is the first part of our fender done. So what I'm going to do is just go around and tighten this up as tight as I can. And also the other thing I want to do, because I'm making a matching pair, before I over tighten as such, I just want to make sure that that length is going to be the same. So yeah, there's my bottom, and yeah, they're going to be the same in length. Okay, so just check that, because if it's uneven, it doesn't look so good. So just check that out, make sure that's the right length, which it does appear to be, and so therefore I can go ahead and tie the rest of my fender. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is just go around and tighten that up as tight as I can. Really tight. Oh, and that's it. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's get that out of the way and show you the next thing I'm going to do with this piece here. Now we tied a crown knot on this end, but basically a crown knot is a wall knot upside down, or the other way up. So now that's a crown knot because I did it this way up, but if I actually turn my work up that way, it's become a wall knot. But we're not too worried about that, really, because the next thing we're going to do is we are going to tie crown knots all the way up. So we're going to do continuous crowning all the way up our fender. And to do that, now the first thing you'll notice is that when you lay your rope up the other way, you'll see there's a natural curvature to go in one direction or another. And basically in this one, I can see it naturally wants to curl around that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my crown knots in that direction. And it's so simple. So basically, I take the first lead again and pass it over the one next to it, keeping that loop there. So we want to keep a loop at that point there. I then take this one and pass it over the one next to it. I take that one and pass it over the one next to it. And then the final lead, this one here, goes down through that hole we created there. And then we gently pull them up, and we have now tied our first crown knot. And you'll notice, if I don't slip too much, that the crown knot itself is actually going up the core of our fender. So there is the first one that we've tied there. So let's do another one now. So if we take this again, I take my first lead, which is this one here, and pass it over that one. And we keep that loop in there. I then pass this one over the next one, like so. Then I pass the next one over that one. And then the final lead itself, this is the final lead, wants to go over and down through that hole there. And then once again, pull it up tight, and you'll see then that we've gained another row up the side of our fender. So pull that all through, and you can see now here we're starting to get a nice pattern appearing as it works its way up our fender. And that's what I'm going to do now. I am now going to take my other piece of work, which I've put down somewhere. There it is. Whoops. There it is. And what I'm going to do now is just crown all the way up. So let's start the first one. First knot there, get the leads all sorted, and my natural direction of travel looks as though it's going round that way, so we're going to go that way as well. So I'm going to take the first lead, which is this one here, and pass it over that one. And don't forget, keep the loop. So we're keeping a loop just there. I then take this lead here and pass it over my next one, like so. Take that one, pass it over my final lead, and then the final lead, this one here, goes down through that gap there. Okay, down through that gap, and then pull it all up nice and tight, like so. And what I could have done, which I will do in a second, is cut those spider's legs out, but you can see here now, my first crown has started to appear there, and I'm just going to repeat that. I'm just going to go round, repeat, 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 till I get to the top of this point here. So I will go ahead and just keep repeating the crown knot that you saw with the white one. So the white one here will work its way up there, and that's what I'm going to do here with this particular fender. But the first thing I'm going to do is just undo it and cut my spider legs out, and then I'll come back to you when I'm part way up and you'll see what I'm doing. So you can see I've done a little bit more here, a couple of inches to go here, but let's show you one last time on this, just how I did the crowning. And all I basically do is get the first one, which in this particular case is going to be this one here. I pass it over this one here. This one then passes over the next one, like so. This one then passes over the next one. And then the final one, well, just get the end of that and passes down through that loop we made, and then we pull everything up nice and tight. And when I say tight, I mean tight, really tight. You know, pull it up until it creaks. It will creak at some stage. Well, this one is anyway, and so then I know I'm getting it fairly tight. And so it looks as though I just need to do one, maybe two more, and then I'm going to finish off on that. And so when I get to the stage now where I'm going to finish off, you will then see how to do that. And as you can see, I have not got much rope left out of that lock. There was a lot of rope, and once again, don't forget, at the end of the video I will give you the amounts of rope that I used to make this particular fender. So anyway, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs down, whichever you give me. Give me a comment and I'll talk to you. So what I've done is I've now crowned as high as I want to, so we're at about the same height as that one there. So we've got the same size, and what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to tuck these leads away. Now this is what I did on the other one, so I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. And basically what I'm going to do is, let me get my pointer here. Now this lead is coming out here like so. But what I'm going to do is there's a lead going over the top of it and going under there. And what I'm going to do is create a hole so that this lead can tuck under there. And to create this hole, all I'm going to do is just put my Swedish fid under there. If you haven't got a Swedish fid, you just can poke something through to give you the hole. Put my Swedish fid in there and then pass my work through there. And just push it a bit more, that's it. Pass it through. Just get it through. It is tight. Bring it through like so, and then pull all the work through. So that's one lot, so bring that through, and then we'll tighten up on that in a bit anyway, so we don't need to worry if it's loosened off a bit. And then so we've gone round through there under that one. The next one along is this one here, and I'm going to tuck it underneath the one next to it. So what I'll do is I'll just give myself a hole there and tuck my lead through. For some reason this one was a lot easier than the other one, and pull it through like so, and then just pull up on it, and then let's see, we've got this one here now, so it's this one here, we take it round underneath that one there and pass it through like so. There we go. And then we've got the final one to do in a second. Whoop. Like so. And then where's my final one? There's my final one. So that's the final one coming out there, and we're going to just tuck it underneath the one right next to it. So tuck it underneath like so, and bring it through. Right, so now that I've done that, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and tighten it all. And I'm not just going to tighten it here in front of you, I'm going to hang this from something and put my whole weight on it just to tighten it up that little bit more, and then I'll come back to you. Right, so here we are again. So I've tucked it under each one of those, and I've hung it on something really big outside, and I've swung off it like a chimpanzee. Now I'm going to give it one more tuck. So as you can see here, it's coming under this one here, and this lead is then coming out of that one there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a hole underneath this one here like so, and pass my lead through it. Now I don't know if I can do it here, because I know last time I did it I needed a massive hole. Found it. Okay, so basically what I've done is I have parted that lead there. Here's the lead that we want to tuck through, so all I've got to do is just poke that through and bring it down like so, and that now is not coming undone at all. Okay, so that is one done. Whoa, I've got a bit, I can twist that, try and make it look even inside. There we go. Okay, and so that is the next one done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same for all four of the rest of them. So basically, let's see, this one here is coming out under that one. I want to make a hole in there and bring it underneath that. So I'm going to go round and do the other three, and then I'll come back. So there you go, I've got my fender made up, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, all I'm going to do is just cut my cords off flush at that point there. There we go. And then just gently push them down, and you can see I've cut two already, and I've got two, and then all I've got to do is cut the other two off, and I've made myself a little fender. And that's it. So I've now got a port and starboard fender, and they will go out to Kosh Bushcraft tomorrow morning in the post, and I hope he likes them. Okay, so oh, I've got one more thing to show you. Hang on. So yeah, one more thing. That's all I had left over when I was doing that job. Now you do need a little bit left over, because you need to swing from it to actually tighten it up as much as possible. But what I've done here as well is, out of one of the offcuts, I've made a little brush. It's not too good at the moment because the ends are still wet where I've had to wet it. But basically all I've done, there is another tutorial on this. If you check out my tutorials on a sailor's whisk, this is a sailor's whisk, and all I've basically done is used an offcut, put a lanyard knot in it, then I've frayed the ends, and so when Kosh Bushcraft gets this, he can use this for sweeping off the swarf or whatever he wants in his workshop. So just a little tool for him to mess about with as well. So I'll send that in the post to him as well. He doesn't know he's getting that. But here we have the 1, 2 in number, finished fenders. And so that's it. once again, just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and please leave me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and I'll see you again next time. Take care then. Bye bye.